Hi, I'm Andy, and we are Pepper and Well, and this humble little reno is Callie. So we were fortunate, enough to have Callie kickstart our little company back in 2020. Mitch and Jen were the clients, and they had a 1-year-old Reggie, and this was going to be their home, their family home, their first home together. In Northcote, Interwar house had this communal driveway. So there's some real complexities about it. It was a pretty small site, small south facing as well. So there were a few things that we knew we had to work with. When we first met Callie, she was pretty tired and run down. It's being left vacant for quite some time. Internal walls, internal brick walls everywhere, and real cumbersome connection to the external as well through that sunroom there. So we knew we had a bit of work to do in getting more light in there, but with a modest budget, we knew that a lot had to be smart with what we kept and what was new. So, and fortunately, there were a lot of these rich Art Deco details that carried through, which is quite common of this sort of building. So those sort of brick bonds and the paneling inside. I mentioned a modest budget, so we had to be smart with, and a small house as well. So we had to be smart with space and had to play a real game of essentialism about what was kept, what was nice to have, and what was a must-have. We got an engineer in early just to make sure that the walls we removed didn't have super big repercussions, and we did them in the right spot. And essentially it ended up that we were able to take space out of bedrooms where people use them for sleeping and give it back to other areas like the living and the bathroom. That would then help us. We could pinch a little bit of space from the backyard, which we were limited with as well because of the location of that existing garage. But then, enhance the connection to the backyard and make that new outdoor entertaining area another room of the house, really. As I said, really modest budget. So where we did put anything new, it had to work really hard. This, as well as giving us a little bit more, about a metre more space in that living area, it actually helped us, peered over the top of that existing terracotta roof and helped us filter a heap of northern light into that living area. That would then open up onto this new outdoor entertainment area through a lift and pull sliding door and into this cupboard area. Damp-on roof sheeting just to make sure we were getting as much light in there, translucent. And then there was a garage at the back that we kept as a garage, but also just reclad it, re-insulated it, put some new doors in there just to make it function in a number of ways. It has been nicknamed the doghouse because where Mitch ends up after a big night out. So, moving internally, that junction was really important. We have a junction of traditional and new in this living area, and so how that raked ceiling hit that traditional ceiling was going to be really important. That main driver of that extension was to get as much light into the space as possible, but it also did a lot more. I think as we worked hard to make sure we didn't have any bulkheads in there for that box cutter, but making sure that rake ceiling abutted where it abutted the sort of hanging cornice, and then let that light play with those existing elements inside, those traditional elements. We were fortunate enough to have a really patient and good structural engineer who could keep our structure quite lean and help us. We only had 2 steel beams that ran through there, pretty skinny, and let us achieve that with no bulkhead. We also had pretty patient builders who could work through those little details with us, as frustrating as they might have been in that existing house. And our Enscape model came in handy because we were able to put our QR codes on drawings, and they could scan and look at panoramas while they were actually alongside our sections. So you can scan that, but it'll come up again later if you want it later. That Enscape model was really handy in bringing in coordinating our interiors as well. And obviously they were going to be a pretty big icon in this small house. The clients had a penchant for colour and brought us a heap of colourful, crazy tiles, which scared the hell out of us. But new company, our ethos was, it's their house. We're going to work with them, and we instead instituted this tireless, exhaustive effort of trial and error to find out what would work and get somewhere that was quite, that was really them. In the end, those reds and yellows and that pattern that we got really worked well with the brickwork that we exposed on the opposing wall, and just linked the texture to the rest of that house, that existing texture and ornament that was quite rich in the house already. And that carried through, that texture and colour really carried through the rest of the house. In the bathroom there, they've sort of like, a bit like bubbles coming out of the bath. And then into bedrooms where, we did expose some brick again, and how that worked with the ceiling panels. So in the end, Callie was a really modest renovation, but I think she really showcased how architectural thinking could work with a very modest budget and actually, create something that was a successful and bespoke project. We also learned, a really big important step for the rest of our, the next few years of our company, which was work with clients' ideas and how, don't say no. Let them help us actually create a really bespoke space, because we wouldn't have. This is so different than what we would have come up with ourselves. I think it was really about working together. And in the end, I think there was a level of contemporary ornament that really sat well against the traditional, and was a fitting tribute to the quirky existing house, but also our quirky, colourful clients that saved the house.